Cheers. Welcome to the Jam Happy Hour here on this Friday evening. I hope you're looking forward to an hour of great music, chatting, getting to know each other a little better, and hanging out. Of course, enjoying some great wines. Tonight, we are being joined by Erik Huey and Cliff. They're popping in from Pennsylvania. So cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on with us tonight.
Cheers. Yeah, absolutely.
Happy Friday. I mean, we made it through another week.
Yeah. We made it through another January week.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a very good point. All right. Clearly, we are not in the dry January crew, but cheers to those who are enjoying their mocktails and getting ready to enjoy some music with you.
We're excited. Thanks so much for having us on. And thanks to Jam Sellers and you, Jan, and the whole team. We really appreciate the opportunity.
What I really love about this hour is like basically people that come here are either already fans of yours and they get to know us a little bit better, or they're fans of ours and they get to know you guys a little bit better. Yeah. And it's just about hanging out and vibing out and just enjoying a great evening of music together. So if somebody is meeting you for the first time and they have not heard your music before, and I'm not pigeonholing, but what is your sound?
Good question. I think it's kind of like a Johnny Clash. It's like country meets punk, cowpunk,
Johnny Clash,
alternative.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, let's go with like the
I've never heard that in my life before. I'm processing this statement. Johnny Cash and the Clash. So we just had okay. All right.
Yeah.
Continue.
Why not? Is Americana? I think Americana is such a broad term, and so many people use it, and maybe cowpunk or alt country or alternative or outlaw country. I mean, we get played a lot on outlaw country, all those things. But I mean, if you have two words, Johnny freaking Clash.
I love that. And I don't know if anybody else is using it. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
But you're right. There are so many interesting like offshoot and genres from, the country and the punk and the Americana, which again, I think is such a broad term. But obviously a lot of it is coming from your musical influences and what you grew up listening to. And we're going to get into all of that. But I've learned that I talk too much and I want to jump in right away. I want to get a taste of this music. I want everybody to get hooked in for the next hour of music and wine and getting to know you and Cliff a little bit better. So what is the first song you would like to play for us this evening?
First song I think is You Can't Drink All Day If You Don't Drink in the Morning.
Yes, you can.
Listen, it's just simple math. Don't argue with it. It's empirically true. And first of all, this is Cliff Hillis, an amazing singer-songwriter who's got a couple of new songs out, and he's also with the band Starbelly, who will be playing with me, opening for me, and playing with me on all the shows for this record. And awesome. So thrilled to be here in his home studio in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, the state of my birth. And we're across the other side.
Full circle.
We're coming full circle. But this song's called Drink All Day If You Don't Drink in the Morning. And it's one of those songs I wrote it in 10 minutes in a hungover state in a Austin hotel room, the San Jose Hotel, I think it was. And I woke up at like 8 a.m. and I wrote it and I was like, I think this is it. And I just
Were you drinking?
I had been the night before. I was across the street at the Continental Club, and I had seen Dale Watson, and I had been overserved, and Rosie Flores, and I had been overserved. I was drinking with Jesse Dayton, I think, and woke up the next morning hungover, wrote this, and then went back to sleep. And my only regret is that George Jones didn't live long enough to sing it because he would have murdered the song.
It sounds like that would absolutely be the case, and the only way you can make it better is if you would have been like drinking, hangover juice while writing it. But I'm glad you did not, because now we have this song in perpetuity.
All righty. So it goes like this. You can drink all day if you don't drink in the morning. It don't mean a thing unless you're drinking all night long. Start off nice and slow, but it will hit you without warning. Drink all day now, like I'm in a country song. I'm a stranger to a shot of whiskey, and it's rare that I turn down a glass of wine. might start early, not till closing time. 'Cause you can't drink all day if you don't drink in the morning. It don't mean a thing unless you're drinking all night long. You can start off nice and slow, but it will hit you without warning. I drink all day now, like I'm in a country song. Sometimes you need a breakfast beer. Take the edge off. And a couple more lunch power through. I'll be buying rounds when the sun goes down, thrown out of every bar in town. I keep drinking, I drink my way to you. 'Cause you can't drink all day if you don't drink in the morning. It don't mean a thing unless you're drinking all day long. You can start out nice and slow, but it will hit you without warning. Drink all day like I'm in a country song. Drink like this might seem a bit excessive. I'm told normal people, they don't live like this. But to hell with moderation. Drink all day takes dedication. If you're not wasted, the day most surely is. 'Cause you can't drink all day if you don't drink in the morning. It don't mean a thing unless you're drinking all day long. Start off nice and slow, but it will hit you without warning. I drink all day now, like I'm in a country song. I drink all day now, like I'm in a country song. If you're not doing it all day, then you're doing it all wrong. Woo!
I just chuckled that entire song because it's so true. Cheers.
It's
Cheers,
subtle,
cheers,
right?
Cheers. It's very subtle. It's
Put the B
definitely
in
subtle.
Yeah, subtle's a claw hammer.
Subtle.
Subtle's an Austin hangover. Yeah.
Well, that's not subtle at all. But congratulations, by the way. Today is a big day for you. The album is out, and I love the title of Appalachian Gothic. I feel like that should be like an HBO miniseries just on the title alone. But what does that mean to you?
Well, funny that you should say that. This whole project got started when I saw a book. I was in City Lights bookstore in San Francisco, and I saw a book called The Devil's Here in These Hills. And I got it and I read it. And it was a picture of black and white miners from 100 years ago. And my dad was a coal miner, and my grandfather and great grandfather were all coal miners, all in the Union. And, you know, I'm from the Monongahela Valley. And they were in Pennsylvania, and then I lived in West Virginia. We moved there when I was 9. So I have dual citizenship. So I speak both languages. So we moved 15 miles, but from Uniontown to Morgantown. And I saw that, and I said, this would make an amazing show. This would be like Peaky Blinders meets Deadwood meets Yellowstone or Boardwalk Empire, and it would be like 4 or 5 seasons long, and it's violent, and there's sex and violence and all the amazing stuff, and
all the
this
things.
history. All the things. This history was not taught in my West Virginia history class in 8th grade, and I said, well, this is great, and so I optioned the book, and I put together a treatment, and we're still shopping it around, and we're talking to a number of people in and around Hollywood, and but in the meantime, I called Eric Gamble, who produced this record and co-wrote all of it with me, and I said, Roscoe, this I think this would make some great music. So he and I just instantly wrote the song "The Devil's Here in These Hills" based on that book, and then it kept growing, and then it became. I said, can we do this as a McCoy's record? Those guys aren't from West Virginia. It's not, they're dad wasn't a coal miner in a union. And he said,
Right.
what about a solo record? And, what are we going to call it? And I said, what about Appalachian Gothic? Because it really is an Appalachian thing. And it really brought me back to my roots in growing up in Appalachia and growing up, in a trailer and in Western PA and which we moved around, which we thought was very exotic. All these people.
I think it sets you up well for later life, honestly, though, because nothing against people that, grew up in a house and a place for their like whole childhood. But I mean, I moved around a lot as a child too, as a military kid. And, I think it kind of teaches you to be the new voice in the room and be the new face in the room. And you're always having to readjust and shift and change. And, I think, like you said, it's kind of exotic. Like, oh, where are you from? You're like, well, pick a year. I will fill you in.
Yeah. We're going to wheel our home to next, one step ahead of the tax man or whatever. I'll tell you this much,
I wasn't going to say that.
It'll teach you to fight, because you get to a new school and a couple, after a couple of recesses of getting your ass beat, you learn how to be charming and funny and witty, or you learn to be a really good fighter, which I never really was.
The flip side of that, I was a really good athlete. So I blended in very quickly into whatever sporting team needed me, but kind of in the same sense of like, oh, who's the new kid? What can they do? Whether they're going to pick on you or they're going to use your talents. But your talents, obviously, maybe because of the upbringing, have kind of like created this like really interesting influence on your music, where you have all these different ingredients coming in. And like you said, you thought starting this project was going to be one thing, and now here we are on January 20th, and Appalachian Gothic is out into the world. And I mean, I'm sure you're extremely proud of it, but is there any song that really sticks out to you more than Devil in These Hills, that you're just like, wow, that one really surprised me?
Yeah, there are a number. I think there's a spoken word song on there called "The Bride of Appalachia," that really sort of jumped out, right? And I thought about all those Tom Waits spoken word songs and all that, and I was like, could we tap into something dark? There's a song called "Yours in the Struggle," which I think we'll probably play at the end. And those are songs like what surprised me the most was how much this brought me back to who I was at age 6, at age 10, at age 13 or 14, and how much that Appalachia and West Virginia in the Monongahela Valley were infused in my DNA and soul. And no matter how much I tried to run or deny it. So that was the real surprise. And I think I've spent more time in Appalachia in the last 3 years making this record than I did in the first 18 years growing up there.
That's actually really cool. Like going back to the place, going back to the spot, and letting that kind of like come through the music naturally. I love that.
The scene of the crime.
It is the scene of the crime, but like in a really good way. We are burning through this hour incredibly fast, and I told you it would happen. So again, happy album day. Happy Musical Baby Day. What would you like to play for us next, Erik?
Well, we mentioned Devils Here in These Hills. I'll put my guitar down, and Cliff, if you want to,
show up.
We'll take it a little dark and swampy. And again, this is one of those songs that is the first song we wrote for the record, and it really was an exploration of coal mining and the conversation around that and what happens. It's easy to say, hey, we're going to transition to wind or solar, but what happens to those people? What happens to those jobs? And what happens to their lifestyle? And for 100 years, these people sacrificed and still are, and they gave their lungs and their bodies to the work to make their kids better and to power America. And they're kind of forgotten. And so. What I noticed reading that book was the same conversations 100 years ago were the conversations now in Appalachia. And so this song spans 100 years from the first verse to the third verse. And it starts off with a true story about my great-great-grandfather who left Ireland during the famine.
Oh, I love this.
All right.
You guys. Erik Huey in the Jam Happy Hour.
Yeah.
Granddaddy came from County Cork into these hills for an honest day's work. Went down in the mines with a pick and an axe. He went in green and he came out black. Worked 6 days a week, but they paid him for. He went and burned down their company in his store. When he went on strike, they went mine guards in, killed my great granddaddy and 8 of his friends. The devil is here, deep underground. The devil is here and it don't make a sound. The devil is here, way up in these hills. If the work don't kill you, being out of work will. All the men in my family's been miners since then. Made one to Blair Mountain, down to Cabin Creek Bend. Went down in the hole when I turned 21. The worth of a man gets weighed by the ton. Through Black Lung Cave, it's 100-year floods. Built this country on iron and blood. We holler in the holler when the work was a chime. Gets unfair, we hit the picket line. The devil is here, deep underground. The devil is here and it don't make a sound. The devil is here, way up in these hills. Work don't kill you, being out of work will. The devil is here, deep underground. The devil is here and it don't make a sound. The devil is here, way up in these hills. The work don't kill you, being out of work will. Loading crates at the Walmart store, 'cause the world don't need our coal no more. Can't take no pride in the wage they pay. I take 10 Percocets just to get through the day. Thought the mine owner, who we gonna find now in the new world order where the new ghost town. No reason to stay, nowhere to go next. I guess me and the devil are the last ones left. The devil is here, deep underground. The devil is here and it don't make a sound. The devil is here, way up in these hills. If the work don't kill you, being out of work will. The devil is here, deep underground. The devil is here and it don't make a sound. The devil is here, way up in these hills. If the work don't kill you, being out of work will. The devil is here, yeah, the devil is here. The devil is here. Hold on to your soul, 'cause the devil is here.
I love storytelling through music. And obviously, like you said, you just took us through like multiple generations of like a very real story, like obviously your family story. But it kind of like blew my mind for a little bit because I grew up in Bessemer, Alabama. And again,
Yeah, yeah.
people don't
Sure.
realize a mining town with Vulcan Industries and iron mining. And I remember being a kid and driving through the hills and the mountains and seeing the lights like far off and knowing that, there were men and it was men at the time, working in those mines day and night and 24 hours a day. And I just remember thinking, gosh, that's a really hard job. And then you fast forward to now. And like you said, the industry has changed so much and lives have changed so much. And, the history is still very much there. So you're carrying that history along, but you're also kind of giving it a modern spin. Or is that on purpose?
Very, very much so. And Bessemer. I mean, there are 3 ingredients for steel, right? I mean, there's iron, right, and then there's coal, which is melted down to coke, and then they're blended together in to make steel. So
Yeah.
the iron came from the Iron Range in where Bob Dylan is from in northern Minnesota, and it came from Bessemer in that area of Alabama. The coal came from Appalachia, and it all came together. We took these things from the ground, we made it. But Alabama had a lot of coal, and the longest running strike in America right now is the United Mine Workers strike in Alabama right now.
Wow.
And they've been on strike for 2 years, and they're not giving up, and they're never going to give up. And the coal company needs to realize this. So, this record, I spoke a lot to the United Mine Workers folks, and this record really goes out to them because they do the jobs that nobody else wants to do, and they get treated like crap. And then so they're on strike. And one of my goals is to go down to Alabama and play a show for those striking miners at the Union Hall there.
I'm sure they would love that. And I think a lot of people maybe don't even realize that it's still a thing. Like it is still a way of life. in a lot of communities from Pennsylvania to West Virginia, like you said, to Appalachia to Alabama, like mining is still very much of a thing. And I love that you're, giving it a platform and you're using your experiences and your family. Also in that song, though, you started it off way early in County Cork in Ireland. I love County Cork. Where's your family from?
My family, everybody, we always thought we were always told we're from County Cork, and we're like the McDonoughs, the O'Haras, the O'Loughlin's, the Joyces, the Scanlons, and but through Ancestry.com, Irish on my mom's side. And what we learned is we're actually from County Mayo and County Galway, like all of us, and we're all from a very, very tiny, specific, Loch Corrib region. And but everybody went through Cork, on the way up.
On the way to the boat
to get shipped over on a coffin ship or whatever. And Mother Jones, the great Mother Jones, who should be on Mount Rushmore, she was from County Cork, and there's a statue of her there, and she went to West Virginia. So there really is a tie-in. And the great thing about, and you talk about Alabama, West Virginia at the time, you had people, Scotch, Irish, Italian, Eastern European, all coming over to work in the mines. And 40% of those counties were Black. They came up from Alabama. They were sharecroppers, and they said, this is a better way of life, or they'd worked in the iron mines. And so it was a great melting pot. And, unfortunately, politically, I think people try to divide us. And I think back then everybody banded together, and it was really socioeconomic. It said, hey, we are the workers, and we're going to band together against the people who are wrongfully, oppressing us. So
West Virginia's always done its own thing. Let's just put
our
state in a beautiful way.
Our state is shaped like a middle finger, like literally. And that's our salute. Like, here's Wheeling, here's Morgantown, there's the Harper's Ferry and Charleston.
That's so great. Under like Michigan, you're like, no, it's like completely different.
I got your Michigan. That's our little message to the world. Yeah, we're defiant. We're defiant people. And I think that we're, because people look down on us, and it's like, oh, you're gonna look down on us. We had a double state map, coming your way. And, there's a real pride. There's a real pride in West Virginia and throughout Appalachia about where you're from. And it gets overlooked. And I think it's time that the region had its day, because it is woven into the cultural fabric of who we are.
We're the butt of everybody's jokes between, West Virginia, Alabama, Florida, man. Come on, I get it. It's like, it's all a thing. But soon enough, you're going to be on tour, and you're going to be like visiting all these little other areas, and you can make your own jokes.
That's right.
Not that you would.
I know them all, but I don't repeat them, all the West Virginia jokes. And I'm sure you know all the Alabama jokes.
Oh, well, yeah. They go on for days and days and days. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But again, time is quickly slipping by. We're almost halfway through, and we've done 2 songs. So I'll let you do your thing, because we're celebrating. We're celebrating today. You, Erik Huey, here in the Jam Happy Hour. Cliff, again, thank you so much for being here with us. This is a blast. What you guys feeling about playing for us next?
Should we do a heart disease called Love?
Yeah.
You had me in the title.
Yeah. Well, it's a deceptively simple song.
He's storytelling again.
Let's get it going.
Well, like drum intro
Thank
situation.
You so much.
Like,
a little strum intro. Yeah. One kiss became a weapon. I don't want to bleed in vain. Clouds cover up in the heavens. I surrender to the rain. Death bell that also rang like madness from above. I'm going out with a bang and a heart disease called love. 99 below zero, I feel like fever now. You know me, I'm no hero. Don't even ask me how. Down in the deep, deep freeze, what was I thinking of? In the painful breeze, in the frozen trees, in a heart disease called love. dinner, drinks a new lover, and the Guinness so bitter and black. Your fingerprints, they cover this knife sticking out of my back. You overlooked fine details. You should have worn your gloves, 'cause now I got a girl in jail and a house for sale and a heart disease called love. I got a girl in jail and a house for sale and a heart disease called love. I got a girl in jail and a house for sale and a heart disease called love.
I particularly love the house for sale line. That is, I think that's something we can all, connect to and enjoy. You have a very interesting way of putting your songs out. It is very storyteller, and I don't know if you think the same way that I think, but I've said it a few times in the show before. An adage that I heard very early on in radio was that women will hear lyrics and men will hear the music first. I mean, it all comes along eventually, but I always seem to gravitate towards the story. So are you writing with the story in mind? And this is for Erik and Cliff, both of you, because I know you guys are both like super fluent in multiple projects. Yeah. Do you write with the story in mind, or do you write with the music?
I'll let Cliff take a shot at that. And by the way, Cliff's got a couple of new amazing songs out right now. Motel Parking Lot, Dan Byrne. So how do you write? I mean, it's a mystery.
Yeah, well, it's funny for the longest time in my life. I didn't have a song. I was just things would just kind of present themselves, and I'd be like, okay, what does this mean? Because also I'm like big Beatle guy and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So melody and lyrics, and then I figure out, then but in the last handful of years, I've done a lot more co-writing with people, which has been great. The song you just mentioned, this Motel Parking Lot, I wrote with a great, Aaron Lee Tasjan is a great Nashville songwriter. He's up for a Grammy last year. And the song I have a brand new song just came out, and it's an ode to a guy named Dan Byrne, who's a troubadour singer-songwriter. He's been around for a very long time, and he should have a guitar-shaped swimming pool, but he doesn't yet. But for all I know, maybe he does. But so that has helped. Like writing with other people has expanded that. And to me, it's more difficult to start with a story, I think. Or well, it all depends. It's a case-by-case scenario, I guess is how I put it.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes for me, somebody will say the mute. You never know how she's going to visit and what she's going to say and what form she's going to take. But for me, someone will mention a phrase, right? My friend Elliot said I'd read a New York Times article about my hometown, Uniontown, and it was about COVID and how people just weren't believing that it was a thing and they were dying like 2 and 3 a week. So I put a post up about it, and I said I was born in Uniontown, and people were dying there, and he said, "That's your song, man." And so I said, "Well, I was born in Uniontown. Well, how does that go?" And then it's like, I was born in Union. Then next thing you're sort of, then you're kind of on the journey of a story. Yeah. So, and I'm a big lyrics guy. I'm a big Dylan guy. And so, I think in terms of lyrics but I think if the words have sounds is how I like for sure. A phrase has
a good phrase, then it suddenly just
reveals itself. Yeah. It reveals its melody to you.
Not in a synesthesia sense, but more so in like a lilt. Like certain words can trigger certain feelings, not in the words themselves, but how they kind of flow together.
Yeah, the lilt. Yeah, it's a very, very Celtic kind of approach to it, but I think it's true. Yeah.
I've always thought of words as an instrument, honestly, and it's another, especially like when some songwriters will use them almost like percussion.
Mm-hmm. Look at Shane McGowan. I mean, that is percussive. That is percussive singing.
Right.
Or Tom York or Michael Stipe. That's the opposite of percussive, but they're like, they got this operatic,
you just brought up Michael Stipe. Now we can get down. The obsession with REM and Michael Stipe in the 90s for me was hardcore, but I think it was because I was hearing a sound that I wasn't hearing anywhere else. Yeah. Other than Michael, what artists have kind of stuck out for you in that sense? You were starting to like name check some there that have really just like, they're doing something so different that I want to pay attention to this.
I mean, REM was kind of the soundtrack to my youth, college, high school and college, and then the Replacements. I mean, for me, the Mats were like, and Tommy Stinson's a friend, the Mats were like, the Replacements were the band that they were us. I mean, literally the band could be your life. And they were kind of outsiders and kind of losers, and they didn't, they weren't great with women. They weren't, and it was great. Like it literally, when I heard the Replacements for the first time, or every time I still hear them, it's like somebody got into my soul and wrote a song from the inside out. For me. And then, and the twang thing, I grew up in West Virginia, and when you do that, you have a very complex relationship with country music. And especially if you're a punk rocker, right? If you're like Echo and the Bunnymen, and you're like, oh, I can't like punk rock, and
I
can't like country.
In West Virginia.
Well, it was in Morgantown. We had a college radio station, and we had the Underground Railroad, and which is now 123 Pleasant Street, and great clubs and a great scene. But then, like, the more I got into bands like that, I got into X, and then I got into the Blasters, and then I got into Jason and the Scorchers, and so I got into country through the back door. And all these kind of punk bands like Los Lobos, and I mean the Beat Farmers, that first Beat Farmers record, I remember hearing it. My friend Tom Inskeep played it for me. I said, this is what I want a band to sound like in my head. And so my whole life I've been kind of chasing that sound. And so I came to country music. I was 17, and then a friend of ours, Chris Kazmarzik, played George Jones. He Stopped Lumbering a Day, and that was I mean, listen, if you're gonna fall in love with the first country song you ever hear,
let it
that's
be that
the
one
song. Yeah,
rip your heart out, throw it on the floor, jump up and down on it, like just wow.
Yeah, and so that's as good as it gets, I think. And then that led to, of course, Johnny Cash, my lifelong love and obsession, and Steve Earle, and I got to know Roscoe, and he was in a great band called the Del Lords, which I absolutely loved, the Del Lords. Yeah. So that kind of the first wave of what became known as Americana, before Uncle Tupelo and before Tweety and Sunvolt, and then all those guys and Wilco, and then everything that came out of that.
I love your name checking. This is so good. You're taking me down like a musical road of just like,
This is the sound of
But now you're on it. Now you're on it.
Can I tell I'm going to tell a story. It's a quick one.
Yeah, I know.
So technically at the last not the last Solid Sound Festival, Wilco has their Solid Sound Festival every
Eric and I are going to drink while you do this.
Sure. A couple Solid Sounds ago, I technically opened for Wilco. On this main stage because I was going with a bunch of friends. I've gone to a couple of them, and they were taking submissions, like do a version of a Wilco song, send it in, and they'll play it. And the winner would actually go up and play with them, which I did not do. But then they showed all of like a bunch of the submissions. They kept showing them on the stage like earlier in the day, and I'm like, hey, there I am.
You technically opened for Wilco.
Technically,
I'm going to go with it. I think that's a fantastic thing. I want to jump into your side projects a little bit. I want to talk about what you got coming up. I know there's a tour involved, but I do want to jump into our fourth song this evening because time is moving super quick. So sip on your wine while you guys get set up for that. I want to remind everybody we do have the Bottle Rock Music Festival coming up, and we're super excited about it. Memorial Day weekend here in Napa. And if you are a fan of 3 days of wine, music, food, and all of the best people in the world coming together, we have a chance for you to win 3-day general admission tickets. If you follow the link below at jamsellers.com/enter to win, we would love to have you with us in Napa. So, I mean, why not go for it while you're enjoying the music here with Erik Huey, and of course, Cliff jumping in with us this evening too. So what is coming up next?
This is a song called Winona. And it's also set in West Virginia. Shocker. It was a single. The video is out. So the first 3 singles off the record. The first one was Devils Here in These Hills, and then Winona, and then Drink All Day. And they're available on YouTube or wherever you get your streaming.
I love
video.
the visuals on your Instagram, by the way. Like, I don't know who's doing your creative, but they're amazing.
Jess Ricchetti,
spot on.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, the visuals on this record have been great. I mean, I must say, and Hunter George, who did this record, and the visuals on this are amazing. And for those of you who get the vinyl and the CD, it comes with a 20-page booklet that tells you all about Appalachian Gothic. It's got the lyrics. It's got a quote from Mother Jones. It's got, it's fun. It's fun stuff. So the visuals were a big part of it because I think, these are visual songs to a large degree. And, so I think, visual, I missed, and we all missed, I think, that when MP3s came out, we missed opening records and gatefold. Well,
now that they're back. I want to get into that. I want to talk about that because I think
Okay.
it's such
All
a
right.
cool resurgence right now. That I have my opinions, and I'm sure you have your opinions. But let's hop into the music so we don't run out of time.
All right. All
Because
right.
we are here to
This is,
enjoy you.
oh, well, you're too kind. And thanks again for having me. This is Winona.
Cool. I'll do like a 3 count, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Summer days coming home late, starting my drinking. When the sun goes down, I hear your brown eyes. I see the love of the bottle lying in town. Your voice still echoes through the hollers of night. I remember the heat of your touch, and that night you told me I love the bottle too much to ever run you enough. Why, Winona? Hey, I made a mistake. Why, Winona? It's my night to lie awake. I try to get you back. You drifted away. Hey, Winona, where? Life's been tough since you left me, girl. The nighttime finds me drunk and lonely. Gonna give up the bottle this time. I swear, coming back to be my one and only. Looking in your mind, it's a tough life. It ain't too pretty, but it's all I got. And you were the light in my darkest night. Now it's getting black. Have you forgotten? Why, Winona? Hey, I made a mistake. Why, Winona? Wasting my nights, lie awake, got you right, get you back, but you drifted away. Hey, Winona, now I'm stuck in this burned out town. I wish I never saw these hills. I took too many dead end roads. I took too many pills. But in the hot West Virginia sun, you can still give me the chills. You're home in my soul, only you can feel. Why, Winona? Hey, I made a mistake. Why, Winona? These my nights, lying awake, I try to get you back. You drifted away. Hey, Winona, where? Why, Winona? Hey, I made a mistake. Why, Winona? Wasting my nights just lying awake. I tried to get you back, but you drifted away. Hey, Winona, where? We lost Winona there for a second, but we found her.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
In no
We'll clean
way,
that up in- we'll
Winona
clean
would
that up in
never have
post.
told.
Mm.
Cheers, you guys.
She's not that type
we're
of
hanging.
girl.
She is. Oh, she is. We're hanging with Erik Huey and Cliff here in the Jam Happy Hour tonight. Winona. That's not a specific Winona, is it? Or is it a metaphor, Winona?
A little bit of both. I will admit to the GM Seller fans that I had a teenage crush on Winona Ryder, and then I heard. Didn't we all? Hell yes. She still looks great. She still looks great on Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So it's
You either wanted to be her or be with her.
Yeah. And she was at the last Sex Pistols show in San Francisco at the Winterland Ballroom, and she's cool. She's a rocker, man. And muse to Paul Westerberg and Dave Perner and others. And
Matthew Sweet.
Yeah, also wrote a song.
Did you just Matthew Sweet us? Oh, I love your name checking. It's so good.
Fun stuff. So maybe, I wanted her to play in the video, but that ask is still out there. Maybe one day.
We were briefly discussing before Winona that visuals and like old school is coming back in music consumption, and whether that's vinyl, cassettes are selling again, 45s are back. But here's the crazy thing: the vinyls that they're selling now, they're really expensive.
Yeah.
Where we used to go down to like the local Peaches or like whatever your record store was, and you would grab a vinyl for like $9-10. I think I remember buying Van Halen's 1984 and like walking down the street with it. And like you said, opening it up and like looking at all the stuff inside. So here you are, you're doing the thing. It's like the vinyl's back, and it's not just the vinyl. Like you jumped in and you made it an experience again. How cool was that to create?
It was amazing, and I will tell you that like. You hear the demos, and then you're hearing that you're mixing, you're mastering, and all that stuff. But and then you get the final MP3s, the masters back, and then I got the CDs first because it's very difficult to get vinyl printed because of the rush on vinyl. And then big artists like Adele and Taylor Swift come out with new records.
He's part of the problem too.
Yes, it's not just women. It's just great, amazing, talented artists, and so they tie up all the vinyl plants, and the record labels don't have their own vinyl. But then like when I got this and I could actually physically, take it out and like hold it, it's like, oh my God, this is, and music. I'm spending out. Yeah, it's music. This is what music is, and my kids love it and we love it. And my vinyl collection, I spent an inordinate amount of time in record stores again. Sure. And that was a missing part of my life for 15 or 20 or more years. And now it's back, and it is like a long lost friend. They were on an island. And so I don't know if I'm going to get into, it's awesome. When they bring back 8-tracks though, that's where I draw the line.
Well, it's funny. I bring up my car a lot in this in the JaMHappyHour. I have a '70s Chevelle, and it only has an 8-track. So I am hunting down 8-tracks. I think I have like Captain and Tennille and Chicago's Greatest Hits. But so if you come across some 8-tracks, Eric, Cliff, please let me know. I'm in the market.
Yeah, my wife and I, we used to thrift a lot. We kind of have stopped doing that, but because my wife is a declutter coach now, and
that would do it.
Yep,
and they've got the coolest house. Everything is vintage. And
it's all my wife's doing. All her.
Excellent.
But I for a while there would grab old 8-track players, in thrift stores, and I literally I do have a decent little pile of 8-tracks in the basement. So if I find any good ones, I'll maybe
we will bring them to Bottle Rock. We'll come to Bottle Rock. Yeah.
I love that. Please do, and it's a great segue for me. Thank you. If you're thinking about coming out to Napa, I highly recommend Memorial Day weekend. Bottle Rock Music Festival is going to be going on, and we have your chance to win tickets at jamsellers.com/enter to win. I know you guys have talked about spending a lot of time in San Francisco. Have you made it out to Napa very often?
Yeah, the I don't know about the Star Ballet or Cliff.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, the Surreal McCoys, who's the band on which I'm cheating right now. We're very much still going, and we played Sonoma after the fires. We did a fire benefit concert for the Rebuild North Bay charity with Darius Anderson and the team there in North Bay, and that was really amazing. And to see what the fires did, and to come out for the community, and so we have played the Bay Area. I'm very eager. I was out in Sonoma at the Grove this past summer, and which was an amazing experience in its own right. But we're definitely going to play LA, San Francisco, probably Sonoma on this tour. Our first shows, the album release show, we've got a number of them. First, January 29th. at Club 66 in Edgewood, Maryland, just north of Baltimore. That'll be the first show. The second show, the official record release party, is at Pearl Street Warehouse, a club that's near and dear to our hearts, and a great club down on the water in Washington, D.C. February 10th, Friday, February 10th. And then, so that's the official show. And then we've got the next day we're going to Crooked Beat Records in Alexandria, and then we're going to be doing a show. We're going to be doing a tour of the Deep South. We've got Birmingham.
Come on down.
Come on. We're playing Birmingham, the Nick. We're playing Smith's Old Bar in Atlanta. We're playing, I think, Oxford, Mississippi. We're playing Knoxville, Open Chord. We're playing the City Winery in Nashville. We're on WMOT for their Finally Fridays. I think we're lined up for DVX's Blue Plate special in Knoxville. So we got a little Deep South tour. We're bringing Appalachia to the Deep South.
Are you,
so we'll see
are you ready to be back out and amongst it and just like completely going for it?
100%. I mean, like, for musicians, I mean, it allowed people like Cliff to build out this amazing studio, and so many people did it.
Beautiful room. Thanks for having us in your home.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me in your home. Yeah, I might not leave. I can tell you, I left
we have a little camper in the garage. That's our extra guest house.
Okay, good to know. But yeah, I mean, because it's such an insular process. I mean, I went to this 3-year journey in my head in Appalachia. It was just me and Erik Gamble. Roscoe and I would just hunker down, and we would go to Appalachia, and we spent so much time there, and all through COVID. And then we come out, and it's like, hey, we can be back in the world again and go out and tell these songs. So we're really excited to play this stuff live and to play it for an audience and get out there and sing these songs, and the pure joy of playing it. I mean, Appalachians are joyous people. It's not all post-industrial strife and opioids. We like singing and dancing and raising hell, and we're gonna, absolutely, dancing outlaw. We're gonna get out there and just go white style. We're gonna take it, and we're gonna take it out to the fans and people who want to hear it. And I think hopefully, even if we're playing a place like LA or New York or Boston, places we love to play, I think it'll be a great opportunity. You do not have to be from Appalachia to listen to this record, right? These are hopefully, these are universal rock songs. Yeah, these are universal emotions. Yeah. The rock and roll.
Like you said before, cow punk, Johnny Clash. Like it doesn't. It's it's just good live music, and it's good people. And I think that comes across, in the vibe of the music that you're playing. I want to jump in on another song really quickly because we have about 11 minutes left. I have so many questions still to go, but it is about the music. So what would you like to play for us next?
I think we're going to do a song called That's What Jukeboxes Are For. And I'm done playing guitar for the evening. So I'm going to pour another delicious Jam Cellars jam.
Are you having the really cab, or is that the butter Chardonnay? Oh,
this is the butter. This is the butter Chard.
It's like butter.
So
like butter.
It's very nice. It's very nice.
So this song, That's What Jukeboxes Are For. My girlfriend said to me, first time we broke up, she said, well, the Willie Nelson quote. She said, it's the, and I said, no, I know a lot of Willie Nelson quotes. She's like, he said that the only 5% of the people on earth are with their first choice. And that's what jukeboxes are for. And that's what makes the jukeboxes sing. And everybody has a torch somebody for whom they carry a torch. So this is a torch song. And when I wrote it, I said to Erik Gamble, I said, hey, Roscoe, this is going to be like a George and Tammy duet, because it's a duet, and Cliff will be doing the high parts because I can't. On the record, it's Laura Cantrell, the amazing singer-songwriter. My God, is she talented. And so she sang on the record, and we had so many great guest musicians, Kenny Soul and Jeremy Chatsky and Steve Berlin on saxophone. And but Laura sings this part. And so I wrote it as like a tribute to that Willie Nelson quote. And Roscoe said, oh, George and Tammy duet songs are slow. You need to make this into a Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn duet.
Ooh,
and so
nice
that's what we did. I envisioned it a little more slow, and he ramped it up. And so this is the ramped up version. So just picture those old jukeboxes in the old honky tonks that you used. My grandfather was once he broke his back in the mines, he was a bartender, and I used to go into the bars every Friday and Saturday, and I just played the hell out of the jukebox and the pinball machine, and it was heaven. So this is an ode. This is an ode to those days. All the quarters, yeah, and the red pistachios when they would dye them red and they'd be in that stick a quarter in that machine and every grizzled drunk with urinal hands had stuck his heaven on earth. This is heaven. All right,
Erik Huey here in the Jam Happy Hour.
That's what jukeboxes are for.
All right.
As I sit here by the jukebox, there's an angel singing songs. Rain teardrops from her eyes. He's run down honky tonk, spinning singles, drinking doubles, one sad song at a time. I tell her that's a lot of heartaches for a dime. She tells me, it was perfect till it wasn't. It was right till it went wrong. It's been said 1,000 ways, across 100,000 songs. When someone's never coming back, it makes you want them more. Oh, baby, that's what jukeboxes are for. So we're dancing in the beer light, and she tells me her routine. C20's for the good times, A11 kills the pain, B17 still breaks her heart. She can't play it till this day. She puts her sweet lips a little closer and repeats her sad refrain. It was perfect till it wasn't. It was right till it went wrong. It's been said 1,000 ways, across 100,000 songs. When someone's never coming back, it makes you want them more. Oh, baby, that's what jukeboxes are for. I hate to see your blue eyes crying, 'cause somebody done me wrong. You picked a bad time to be in love. Let me be your good time song. She told me you'll always be a one-man woman. One day you'll come back for him. Until then, be singing, stand by. 'Cause it was perfect till it wasn't. It was right till it went wrong. It's been said 1,000 ways, across 100,000 songs. When someone's never coming back, it makes you want them more. Oh, baby, that's what jukeboxes are for. She tells me, baby, that's what jukeboxes are for. Oh, whoa, just like
That's a good jukebox.
hell yeah. The old ones with the 45s, not the internet
45s
one.
and the bubble lights. And,
Yes.
as kids, you got so excited when your parents would give you quarters and whatnot to run over and pick your records. And then you just annoy everybody in the bar with what you picked. It was so fun.
Oh, so good. When I lived in New York, actually, before I knew Roscoe, I went to his Lakeside Lounge because they had the jukebox. They had the Gallagher machine and the best jukebox. Oh, my God. But it's a contained universe. You've got the 1,000 songs, 100 songs on that jukebox. And you've got to pick it. And then you sculpt it. When I first moved to DC, there was a place, I was with Pat Faris, who was HFS at the time, and we were out drinking at the Capitol Lounge. And we went to Cap Lounge, and I just put in $5, and I did this set. It was mostly ska and the Clash. And the owner of the bar stops, turns down the mic, stands up there, and goes, "Who played this? Who played this set?" And I'm like, me? He's like, "You come over here." Gets out the tape and said, "We're going to be friends for life. That's the best set that's been played in." And so, because I played the Specials and the English Beat and the Clash, and we just, it was, so you can rock. You can make a good jukebox sing. And we brought vinyl back. Bieber brought sexy back. We're bringing freaking.
That was Timberlake. I got a name.
Timberlake. Oh, yeah. Actually, much.
That's my gig. That's my job.
Better. That's your jam. That's your jam. Yeah.
One of the lyrics in that song was a good time song. This is my good time song. What is your good mood music? What can always turn a crappy day around for you?
The Pogues, certainly.
Mm.
Although that does make you want to drink, which, so maybe
You know,
is a
Tuesday
cry
at
for
2
help.
o'clock, maybe not a great idea, but
Yeah, it's a cry for help. Yeah, the English beat. I think that ska stuff from the early 80s
Oh,
for
yeah.
me. I know. What about for you? The Beatles and
Beatles, and well, we were mentioned before we went on the air the ELO, Mr. Blue
Oh,
Sky, the happiest song of all
yes.
time, which is it's in my top 10 of all songs.
all times. I was the day my grandfather died, or they were burying him. We went up and we were driving down this road up into the hills in the Allegheny Mountains, and that song came on. And it was this beautiful sunny day, and it always reminds me of him. And it's such a great song. So Cliff Hillis, by the way, is in an incredible ELO band with members of ELO, the orchestra, and then Dennis Shaka, who also plays in Starbelly, who will be touring with us, is in a different ELO cover band called Atomic Light Orchestra, who I saw. I'm in a band, tour with them, play
You
with the
guys
guys.
have so many projects going on, and you have like real life stuff going on, and you've got your projects going on, and like I don't know how you keep it all straight, but I'm certainly thrilled that you were able to put Appalachian Gothic together, and it's out. The musical baby is out in the world today. Have you taken a moment to kind of like take that in, like all of this work and everything leading up to it is?
I think so.
There.
I think so. Do we have time for one more? Can we end on Yours in the Struggle? Because I think it's
We
a nice
absolutely
coda,
can.
and it is. Yeah, this is a song that encapsulates it. It's all because it's upbeat, it's positive. It's a Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie. A reviewer came out today and said this is an anthem of Guthrie-like proportions. So that's going on my tombstone. Yes, it is. It's really amazing to process. It's been a long, and I can't thank people like Eric Gamble. Wouldn't have happened without him. Everybody who played on this, everybody's gonna be touring with this. The people, Hunter George and Fanone Bennett, who did my videos. The whole team. We've got Angie Carlson. I can name them all, but we'll end with Yours in the Struggle because it's a triumphant song about little people who come together to do big things.
Absolutely love that. Erik Huey here in the Jam Happy Hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenna. Really appreciate it.
All right.
I was born a long way from where I was meant to be, so I've been looking for my true home since they put me on my feet. But every hard road I had traveled led to heartbreak or to trouble, but I've never been lost again since the day I formed the struggle. I'll be yours in the struggle. Down in the deep mines, I'll be yours in the struggle. In the deepest dark mines, at the barricade walls, until freedom descends, I'll be yours in the struggle till the very end. Found me in Kanawha back when I was on the run. You said it's time to band together, trade that bottle for a gun. From Calumet to Ludlow, we battled for our lives. We got battered, bruised, and bloodied, but we sure got organized. I'll be yours in the struggle. Out on the front lines, I'll be yours in the struggle. In the deepest dark mines, at the barricade walls, until freedom descends, I'll be yours in the struggle till the very end. Toiling underground, most days we never saw the sun. When freedom can't be won with words, we're gonna win it with the gun. From Paint Creek to Blair Mountain, took an oath and took a stand. Red bandanas around each neck and a gun in every hand. Some say the struggle's over and the banners have come down, but I still see injustice as I roam from town to town. And so the fight continues. Raise your fist and stand up strong. Until the world is level, the struggle will live on. I'll be yours in the struggle, out on the front lines, from the back of the bus to the deepest dark mines, at the barricade walls, until freedom descends. I'll be yours in the struggle to the very end, from the barricade walls till the freedom descends. I'll be yours in the struggle till the very end.
Appalachian Gothic, it is out today. If you've enjoyed the music this evening, please make sure you like and follow and share. Put it on all your playlists, because that is really what matters these days. It's a beautiful vinyl, but if you're just enjoying the music, just add it to like your in-home playlist. I know I certainly will be too. Erik and Cliff, thank you for spending your evening here with us in the Jam Happy Hour. I hope you'll come back. I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys on the road, getting out there and touring. What is the best way to keep up with what is next?
Go to erikvincenthuey.com. Erik with a K, E-R-I-K, Vincent
Very
Huey.
Viking of you.
Yes, indeed. Well, before the Irish, there were the Vikings that came there. So erikvincenthuey.com. I think erikhuey.com also works. That's the best way. We're going to put tour dates up there. There's some merch coming, I swear. If you're interested in this, or go to my Facebook page, or go to Instagram and DM me, I will sign vinyl to you and send it off myself. So thank you so much, Jana. And thanks to Jam Sellers. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us in to your home, and thank you for the music. Thank you for sharing your story with us and the music, obviously. So you guys go follow, share, like, and cheers on a beautiful night of music. And thank you for hanging with us, and hopefully we'll see you in Napa soon.
There we
Cheers.
go.
Cheers. Good
Absolutely.
night.
Rock on.